We are going to get started, and I've asked Senator Lee Anderson if he'll help us in prayer.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day. Dear Lord, just ask you to give us the wisdom and knowledge we need to make the right decisions for the great people of the great state of Georgia. Dear Heavenly Father, we just pause and want to thank you for loving us. Dear Heavenly Father, forgive us of our sins and thank you for wonderful blessings in your name's sake. Amen.
Amen. Well, certainly it is a beautiful day outside, so we appreciate everyone coming in on this committee day. Today we have an Economic Development and Tourism Committee. We have SB 379, and we have our illustrious Senator Strickland is going to present that. For the members of the committee, I've been approached already. They have some slight changes they want to make, so we're going to do a hearing only today. There's going to be a lot of people that want to testify and share with us. This is important not only to Senator Strickland and others, but it's important to our state as we continue to talk about workforce development and continuing to be the #1 place to do business. We've got several handouts that have been provided to you that are in your folder. If you haven't had a chance to look at that, I would ask that you look at that as well. I know that we have Leadership Henry here today. Is that correct?
I'll send them, Mr. Chairman, if you would bring that up. We have some great people from Henry County up here. Make sure I'm live, of course.
Where's... Once again, Senator, you have Leadership Henry here.
That's right. Senator Jones and I have a great group up here visiting us from Henry County this morning. They're coming up the elevators right now. Some are already in the room in the back. Our Leadership Henry folks, good morning. They're coming in. And they're here to watch their two senators in action. And I'll say this bill is so great, you're just going to be wanting to make a motion to pass it so quickly anyway. But I hope that you get the hint, say good things about me, whether you like the bill or not, and help us welcome them today. But Senator, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I can start presenting the bill now.
Well, Senator, I realize that the senator over to the left of me, Senator Brass, also has some constituents that are in the House. Is that right, Senator?
That's correct. That's correct. I've got Mark Whitlock here from our CEC and Dave Keller from, well, he's retired from EGO, and now he's doing workforce development stuff, and just two great minds and great people from my county, home county of Coweta County.
Great. Well, Senator, I realize that you would love for us to be able to vote this out, but knowing that your wife is very particular and making sure everything's perfect, she would never want you to move a bill forward. It's not perfect.
We'll take all the time.
So we're going to give the opportunity to get it perfect today.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
So if you will go ahead and take us through this.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't mind, start with the LC number, please.
Yes, sir. So we have Senate Bill 379, which is LC 432198. And as the chairman was mentioned, this is, of course, the original draft of the bill. We have a lot of folks who are bringing together, as you'll see when I go through this bill for this legislation. And so there's a lot of ideas about making some minor tweaks to make sure language is just right. So I appreciate the committee hearing this today as we start this process. This bill is going to create an apprenticeship program for the first time in Georgia, apprenticeship program that's a Georgia program. And we know that year after year we celebrate being the #1 state in which to do business. But we've realized that there are some challenges that come from being so business friendly. And it's my opinion that the leadership, in particular Governor Kemp, the last couple of years in navigating COVID-19 in particular, has made us even more attractive for businesses. And we're seeing the growth around our state of people that are locating here. But we see the challenges of having a record low unemployment number. Trying to, as a business, make sure that you have people that you can hire to fill these jobs is a big challenge in our state. And as someone looking for work, it may seem like there's a lot of options out there right now, but you have to make decisions trying to take advantage of today's market and whether or not you want to continue to go back to school, spend money, possibly take out debt going and getting degrees, or work today in these high-demand jobs. And so our goal with this program is to connect the business owners, the employers, with the employees, in particular for certain high-demand fields in our state. And so as you see, we'll go through this bill. There is an existing federal apprenticeship program that's out there now. and it is the Registered Apprenticeship Program. RAP is what a lot of people refer to it as. And you look at the bill starting on page 2 in the definition section, you'll see as we define apprentice, we define an occupation, a program, a sponsor. All these terms, you'll see us refer back to federal language. That's to make sure that we get the federal money that comes to our state under the current federal model that exists when you define who the employer is, who the employee is that can qualify, and making sure we're doing that the right way here in Georgia. One thing that's unique on line 20 is we allow this to apply to someone that's at least 15 years of age. And this will have the ability of someone that may want to start while they're still in high school and start earning credits to get certification for a certain area that's in high demand now. Of course, we know how big this is with our technical schools now and with our with the dual enrollment that we have currently set up. So you get through the definition section here, again, that's tying this to the current federal law. Then you get on page 3 of the bill, and this actually sets up the program subject to appropriations by us. And we have an appropriation, I believe it's $1.2 million. I don't have that written down. Someone can correct me. That's currently in the governor's budget of state money we're putting in to go with federal dollars to go towards this program. You'll see it's being established by the board, which is the state board of the Technical College System of Georgia, in coordination with the Department of Labor, Department of Economic Development, and the Office of Planning and Budget, the folks we have to have at the table to run this program. And you'll see we're calling it the High Demand Career Initiatives Program. Again, take the federal money, the federal program, and what we're doing here in Georgia is tying it to certain high demand career fields and trying to plug these folks in for the program in those areas. Moving down line 61 through 67, you see the rules for employers as to what's required here. You'll have a contract entered into by an employer that's a sponsor, and it sets up how that'll work and the funding they receive per individual that's an apprentice with them as well. Getting into page 4, lines 70 through 75, this is where the Office of Workforce Development itself will publish the list of the high demand career initiatives, the high demand, jobs that are eligible for this. Lines 76 through 91, this is that same office that's going to do annual reporting and making this public as far as the compensation that's being delivered for these programs. That way everybody can see there's sunshine this entire process. And then getting into lines 92 through 96 onto the last page of the bill, this allows the technical college board to actually set the rules up they need to run this program. And finally, you get down to lines 98 through 100. This is the ability to accept funds, not just state money, but also federal dollars for this. And the last line of the bill, sometimes we do this on things to make sure we get it right more than anything else. And you put a sunset on a bill, as we all know, that makes us all come back again and have a conversation. I'm not sure who's going to be around in 2027. You might be Frank, but in 2027, this will right now stand repeal. We'll go back and look at this again and see if this is something we want to keep doing in our state. That is a kind of quick run through of the bill. I know this is not judiciary, Mr. Chairman. You don't want me going through every single word, but I can. Otherwise, I'll be happy to answer any questions. You have a lot of great folks that have more knowledge that are in these areas every single day that may share more on this bill, but I thank you for the opportunity to present to the committee.
Well, Mr. Chairman, only if you allow me when I'm in judiciary to be able to move through as quickly and not put me through the rigors.
Of course. It wouldn't be me that would hold you up. My committee members, I can't speak for.
I'm sure that the committee will yield to the will of the chairman. Senator Ginn, do you have a question or comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, I appreciate you presenting the bill. One of the questions when we talk about the cap at $10,000 per student or per potential employee, do you see most of those funds coming out of the federal government, the state government, or some matching funds by an employer that's trying to fill the need for hiring those employees? Where do you see that balance kind of coming in the few years?
Well, and if I say this wrong, somebody will correct me, I know, but that would not include the money that may come from an employer. So an employer obviously may invest themselves or will be investing themselves in an apprentice, in someone that's going to work with them. For example, the money can't be used to pay for equipment for a business that the business will use to produce their widget, for example, right? And so the money has requirements, things you can't use it for. That way we're not just taking money and giving it to a business that could be used for other things down the road. And so that said, my understanding is that $10,000 is just the way we will cap in our program and our contracts the amount that can be received. And it could be federal or state money that would flow. And if I'm wrong on that, again, somebody will correct me, I'm sure.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Jones, you have a comment or question?
I do. Senator, is it not true that this bill would certainly benefit the business community in our great state?
Yes, sir, that's true, Senator. And we have lots of great people, of course, in the room from Henry County that are watching us right now that I know want to see us take advantage of this. In Henry County, we have Southern Crested Technical College, and we're proud of something you helped bring to our county. When I first got elected, you guys already had the money in the budget to bring that building there. We've now got 3 buildings there in that short time. And so we're making that investment in our backyard. And this is a way that folks, for example, in McDonough or in Stockbridge, Locust Grove, Hampton could go and team up with an employer in our community and get training, get training at the campus of Southern Crescent, get on the job training as well. And of course, even bigger than that maybe is bringing those businesses to our backyard with this incentive we can have in our county as well.
One follow-up, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, isn't it also not true that you picked this good bill with that excellent presentation to impress the future leaders of Henry County?
Yes, and I was happy that Chairman allowed me to schedule it the day they'd be up here as well. Thank you.
Senator,
We
is
have
it,
some fun.
Senator, is it true that Trilith, which is down in Fayette County, but south of you, and it certainly has an impact up into Henry and others, rely heavily with their film academy with these apprenticeships, and they're in favor of this as well?
Yes, sir. And there's other course programs in our state, such as a German program that we also have set up that existing employers, I think you may hear about that today as well. And so to be clear, this is already happening, but it's not something that we are capitalizing on. There's numbers I could go into of the number of apprenticeship programs you see in North Carolina, for example, versus Georgia. And so we're doing what the federal government's allowing us to do, but we have not taken it on like this at the state level and doubled down on it. And so the examples you hear today, this will grow that around our state.
Certainly, we know we have a labor void. We have a workforce void, and so I appreciate you bringing this forward. Any other comments or questions before we go into some testimony? Which number are you, Lee? 3. Senator Anderson, you're recognized.
Senator Strickland, is it Henry County Day?
Well, it's not officially, but it might as well be.
Okay. This bill, wouldn't it be able to touch all 159 counties?
Yes, sir. And there are some counties out east of Atlanta, heading towards South Carolina in particular, and some districts out there, such as maybe the Senate district you're from. And one of the things you look at our border counties in particular is you're competing with neighboring states. I don't know what South Carolina has, to be honest with you. I lived in North Carolina numbers, but this will also make sure in every corner of our state we're not making it better to cross the line to go to work every single day.
What I'm really getting at, wouldn't this bill help our rural, small counties?
Yes, sir.
Have an opportunity to be able to shine their young people the ability they have and the skills they have.
And Senator, well, in all seriousness, we all know that Georgia's doing so great economically, but there's 2 Georgias. We always say that. There's the Atlanta area, and then there's the rest of the state. And there's exceptions in some of our larger cities as well in the corners of the state. But one of the big challenges we have, we're really going to make Georgia truly the #1 state for business moving forward, is to make sure that in every corner of the state there's ability where kids can grow up and go to high school and not have to leave and never come back. And you look at something like this is a way that from an early age you can team up with an employer in your small town and build a career without going out and just getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and moving to Atlanta. It's okay to move to Atlanta. It's okay to go to college, of course, and to take on debt to invest in another career. But hopefully this is something that once we get this going will be an opportunity for young people and people with second careers as well that want to stay in their hometown and work as well.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on. If there's no other comments or questions, we can always revisit that, Senator. But Irene Mom, it looks like you have a consortium of Mr. Hoffman, Whitlock, and Kelly. You want to Keller? They left the R off?
I've got some handouts.
Absolutely.
Thank you, dear.
wrangle them. You're recognized to go ahead and begin whenever you're comfortable.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to your capital.
Thank you very much. Senators, my name is Matthias Hoffmann. I'm the president and CEO of the German-American Chamber of Commerce of the Southern United States. And we are really proud of our partnership here with the Technical College System of Georgia and Georgia Tech's Manufacturing Extension partnership in creating a German-certified apprentice program here in Georgia. We also appreciate very much the service of Senator Matt Brass for being on our steering committee and his great support for our programs. Thank you very much, Senator. The program called Georgia CAT, and this has been mentioned a little bit before, is the Georgia Consortium for Advanced Technical Training and is certified to the same standards as in Germany from my umbrella organization, the German Association of German Chambers. We are also fully embedded with the program here in the U.S. federal DOC apprenticeship system, and basically Georgia CAT is open to American, German, and of course other international companies, and we have had great success so far in serving many companies' workforce needs here in Georgia. So I hope you're very proud of what you do and what Georgia has created here. So the Georgia CAT program is the only apprenticeship program in the United States so far that starts at the age of 15. And this program was specifically designed by the Coweta County companies to replicate the true German-style nature. So 5 years ago, we launched Georgia CAT with West Georgia Technical College and the CEC, and we could not be more proud of its success. So let me ask Mark and David to briefly give you more specific details about our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthias. Senators, my name is David Keller. I'm the recently retired CEO of EGO North America, a manufacturing facility located in Noonan, Coweta County. In 2016, we partnered with 7 other companies in Coweta to start the German-style apprenticeship program Mr. Hoffman's just described to train advanced manufacturing technicians. We partnered with the Central Education Center, the Georgia's first college and career academy, the Technical College System with West Georgia Tech as our local partner, and Georgia Tech through their MEP program. We also made sure that our program is registered through the Department of Labor apprenticeship system. We were very closely able to replicate in Georgia the German apprenticeship model, which annually trains 1.4 million students across 350 different career paths. For my former company, this has been a highly successful and beneficial program. The cost of this program are not insignificant to a small company, though. In addition to paying students for the time they are training at the company in high school, we are covering tools, training materials, program fees, mentor labor, training equaling at least $5,000 annually per enrolled apprentice. In total, the 3-year program will cost most companies at least $25,000 per apprentice. With this, we have no guarantee that at the end of the program, our apprentices will remain with the parent company, but to not do something like this is an even greater risk. For manufacturing, continuous improvement, including automation, is critical to sustaining manufacturing in the U.S., especially as we're looking at rising inflation and labor shortages. Small to mid-sized companies are not big enough to develop dedicated in-house training facilities and centers. We have to partner with educators and our fellow manufacturing companies so that we can survive. My direct competition manufactures in Mexico. I can produce here in Georgia if I have highly skilled employees to develop and maintain our very automated manufacturing systems. The apprenticeship model here in Georgia we help create gives us a fighting chance. It is doing the same for all the other companies across the state of Georgia who are also participating. Georgia will continue to be the #1 state to do business if we continue to show the world we will invest in ourselves. This is about training youth and creating a pipeline of well-paying jobs for Georgia. Thank you. Mark?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Vice Chairman, thank you for your support over the years. My name is Mark Whitlock.
Hey,
I'm
Mark,
CEO.
Mark, can you hold
Yes.
just one
Sure,
second so
sure.
we can bring her in and we'll close the door?
Sure.
I think the people are being distracted just a bit for the noise. Thank you.
Good morning. Excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. You may continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for your support through the years. My name is Mark Whitlock. I'm CEO of Coweta County's College and Career Academy, the Central Educational Center. I want to provide a little bit of context for the color-coded copy and additional material you received, which is an outline of our unique apprenticeship program. Georgia's unique policy tool, Senate Bill 2 from 2015, allows students to substitute much of high school for the technical college programs and state-approved work-based learning that are essential to this apprenticeship program. DOE's highly regarded work-based learning program, TCSG's proven capacity to help employers develop skilled talent, and Georgia Tech's successful manufacturing extension partnership are connected in this apprenticeship program. The international standard, the German apprenticeship model, our national standard USDOL model, combined with a regulatory waiver provided by USDOL, allows this apprenticeship program to combine the best of policy, alliances, and models that yield for students a high school diploma, technical college graduation, a great local job, and 2 well-known certifications for successful completers by age 18. Senate Bill 379 will provide support that our participating employers need.
Any questions or comments for those that are testifying? Senator Brass. You're number 8.
Number 8, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you all for being here. And I just kind of want to, if you'll indulge me, Mr. Chairman, just make some comments. I mean, first off, you know, often in politics, the last politician standing gets credit for things that were done before that person came into office. And, you know, and they've been giving me way more credit than I deserve on this. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that under a lot of this started under Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle and his leadership, and he really pushed this type of model. We all talk about public-private partnerships, and this truly is the gold standard of that. You know, and you know, under Casey Cagle, Irene Munn was always pushing him. And he really was an advocate for college and career academies, which Mark Whitlock has taken that model and put it on the next level. And then you got someone like Dave Keller that comes in from the industry and really goes to someone like Mark and talks about the needs of the industry. And then you've got to have educators that are willing to teach what the needs of the industry are, and not so much what's in a book. And that's the model that has worked. The German American Apprenticeship Program, the Georgia CAP program, has I've got to witness it from day one. The very first event I ever went to, after being elected, I wasn't even sworn in yet, but my very first event was coming and watching these kids sign these contracts. And so now we're seeing those same kids working in the same plants and the same manufacturing companies that they signed those contracts with. And these kids weren't necessarily, you know, some of them might have been struggling in school, some of them weren't, but now they found direction. And at the same time, they found direction, and we filled a need, we filled a void in manufacturing. And it's just, I'm so proud of the program, and not because I had anything to do with it, but I'm proud of it because, number one, it really started in Coweta County. Number two, it was, you know, people like Mattias that came in with a whole different country, came into the state of Georgia, and again, we really married 2 problems with 1 solution, and that's one of my favorite things that we do up here is when we're able to do that. And again, I can't say it enough that this is truly the gold standard of public-private partnerships, and just encourage us to keep building on it, to keep being champions for this. I appreciate Chairman Strickland bringing this legislation forward, and look forward to helping him perfect it and move it on. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Brass, for bringing Irene to light. She's sitting on the front. Anyone that knows when Irene enters the room, she doesn't do it quietly. But generally, when she does come in the room, she makes sure that whatever is done right. So I appreciate that. Any other comments for those that are testifying? Senator Gann, are you number 12? 12. You're recognized, Senator Gann.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On one of the handouts, I was a little bit confused on the question and the answer. The question on the bottom of the second page, are companies obligated to offer employment to the apprentice at the end of the program? And then the answer is no, but then the host company takes on the obligation to hire the apprentice and actively work to help them, or actively work to help them find employment. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if the answer is no, then you're taking on the obligation to hire the apprentice. Those are like conflicting statements, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, where's the balance in there? You're either hiring them or you're finding them a work somewhere else. Is that?
Absolutely. Yes, Senator. So far, my company has had.
Can you speak into the mic for me, please?
My apologies. Yes, Senator. My company, we've had 8 students go through. We've hired 4 that have completed the program. We've got 4 more in the pipeline. It could be possible that with an economic downturn, you may not need every student that's in the pipeline, but we would then be obligated to try and help them find another company that they could work for. And the simple reality is, given the state of labor and the skill sets that these students will acquire, finding them another company is going to be very, very simple. These will not lack for a job.
Thank you.
If anything, we need more and more of these students statewide to be into this kind of a program.
Typically, if you might answer those 8 students, what's your investment in those students financially? What do you think dollar-wise you put in there?
At least $25K minimum that per student that we're putting in. You've got to buy them tools. There's fees associated with the training, with the certifications that we do with the German system. We're paying them a salary when they're working at the company on their projects, not doing anything to support the company, but in the training process. They're going to spend at least 7.5 hours their first year when they're a sophomore in high school working at a company, and then as they get into the program more and more, they're going to spend more time dedicated training around your facility on different systems as well. And all of that is paid time. They start at 10, go to 12, and then 14, tied to an academic school year. Because we as the company understand these are students. We're becoming part of the education system, partnering with the technical college and the college and career academies in the state.
Sounds like a win-win.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, what does the data reflect on retention of those employees that enter an apprenticeship program?
In terms of keeping the students?
Yes.
Senator.
Long term.
Out of long term, we only started in 2016. We graduated our first 2 students, Cole and Josiah, in 2019. They're both still working at EGO. Our second 2 graduates are still at EGO. We did lose one of the students in the process. He decided to do something different. I don't think the success has been as good at other locations. For example, some of them went on to Georgia Tech or went on to college. And that is an option for the students. Mm-hmm. There is a risk for the companies to start this training program because they have an option of what they want to do. It was in my interest to make sure they were brought into the company. We give them time of service. When they finish high school, those 2 students finished their associate's degree at the technical college. We hired them, and they already had 3 years of service at the company at age 18. So that's for vacation and all the other benefits that go with that. So we try hard to keep them with us because it's a long-term benefit to us, but there's no guarantee.
Thank you.
Certainly, it's clear that we're creating an ecosystem here, that it's not necessarily you're the recipient of the investment you put in, but you're putting someone into the donor pool, so we appreciate that. Senator Beach, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just have a comment. Senator Strickland, if I could. This is a great bill, and every industry I talk to in my district, whether it's the construction industry, the healthcare industry, any industry is having trouble finding help and finding a trained workforce. So this is a great bill, and I want to pass it. I know it's a hearing only. What kind of changes do you want to make and can you get these to us quickly so we can make these changes, or you can make these changes and we can pass this and get it on the Senate floor?
Yeah, and I think some of the other speakers are going to point out a couple of things we can change some of the language, and so I know it's up to the committee if you want to do that today or do it as a substitute, but I appreciate that.
Well, that's the chairman's initiative.
Yeah, we've already established that. Thank you, Senator Beach.
Okay, so, but I would tell you that we need to get this moving quick because it's important in my district.
So speaking of that, if I can have my next group step up, we've got Mark Woodall and Carol Daniels Construction. Is that correct? Mark, are you solo? Oh, no, there you are. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Woodall with Associated General Contractors. I want to thank Senator Strickland for bringing this bill forward. We are very much in favor of the measure. In your packet, I put a newsletter from Associated General Contractors on something that the industry is doing with our high school programs that have accredited training programs. Our chairman was able to attend one up in Cedartown. We're now up to 7 different skills challenges around the state that we're doing. We'll have up to 20 high schools participating in the event. Upwards of 80 kids sometimes competing in electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and then there'll be a large group that come witness it. If you have the opportunity to go, I would encourage you to do so. It is there for kids that may not be playing football on Friday night. It is their Super Bowl. And we're also getting parents there. We're also getting employers there. So it turns into a career fair. And a lot of kids that are competing and actually winning in their competitions are walking away with job offers before they leave. So we've done more, I think, as an industry in the last 5 years than we have in the prior 20 of getting parents to understand that going to 4 years of college and getting a psychology degree is not necessarily the best career path. These jobs are paying tremendous money with 2 years of training, and we're talking in the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range. So just take a moment to look at this. I want to tee up also something very, very unique that one of our contractor members, Carol Daniel Construction, we have Representative Irwin here, but they created the first of its kind, a superintendent apprenticeship program. Superintendent on the job is the one that's going to make or break the job, whether or not you're going to make a profit or not. So I'm going to introduce Chris Irwin, and he's going to introduce the gentleman that helped create this program. It's the first one in the country that's been done, but this industry is working to address our workforce needs.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Boy, I'm humbled to be on this side of the Capitol. We might have more brains on the other side, but there
Whoa.
there are very
You were
strong
doing great in the
minds on
beginning,
this
but you may have
side,
lost.
Senator.
Senator Strickland, I think this bill may need to wait till next year. I'm not sure. Oh, that's
I wanted to go ahead and get that out, though, as we go.
We'll make sure that's redacted.
I'll tell you, having been through this bill, and I commend Senator Strickland on his thought pattern here and what's going on. I think I come from a unique stance to be able to talk to you today, having been a school superintendent and trying to develop the young people into a career and not have a gap. So often I saw as a school superintendent children that didn't know what they wanted to do when they stepped out of high school, even if they wanted to go to college or have a skill. And so often the only thing they really knew is what their parents did. And quite a few of them didn't want to do that. So being able to have some type of apprenticeship program is so valuable. And then in my current role, working for Carol Daniels Construction, I've seen the value to a company of being able to build that workforce, train that workforce, and not have that gap that so many of our young people have of finding a career later in life, that they really can make a difference for the state. So I look at this, Senator Strickland, as something that helps out the state of Georgia as a community, and working with the young people and exposing them, not only just from the standpoint of how it can contribute to the profession in the workforce. We do have a program. You do have this flyer in front of you. I think you'll see that it is fully up and functioning and assisting our company There are pictures of senators in here that have come, seen a part of it, and I believe will probably testify to you the value that that this program has had for our community as well as our company. I have with us today Shane McClellan, which is our manager of training and development for our company, and one that has been charged with in our company for doing this and making sure that we were going down the right path. Mark mentioned to you about the importance of superintendents. We chose that, but there can be other areas of this, as you can imagine, in construction, but that is one area that is so valuable to us, and we're exposing people and reaping the benefits. If I can, let me turn it over to Shane for a minute.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris. Real quick, Chris spoke on it. Superintendents are vital. We noticed that a few years ago to the sum of a ratio of 5 to 1. We were losing 5 superintendents for every one we were putting back in place. You can't run a job without a superintendent, right? So we said, what's our next step? There's a skills gap, but there's also a superintendent gap. So we said, let's build a program to where we build a superintendent. We may not give them the title of superintendent, but we are going to give them the tools and the keys to success to be the best superintendent they can be. And so we sat down and we created this robust program in conjunction with the Technical College System of Georgia, our own in-house curriculum, on-the-job training, to create this program which takes these young leaders straight out of high school from work-based learning, from these skills challenges, and we start molding them into the future superintendents of the company. We have already reached out to other technical colleges in Georgia. We've spoke with them. We've spoke with larger construction companies, your Turners, your Brassfields. We've spoke with them. They love the program and they want to implement it. So the future for this is bright. We just got to have the support to put everything in place.
Great. Any comments or questions for this group? Mark, it is true. I had a chance to attend one of your skills contests, and I would encourage anyone that's either listening or in this room to attend. You want to see a competitive environment where you have young people, male and female, picking up a tool of some kind or running a saw and building something in a competitive environment, and then stepping back and feeling proud about what they've done. Under supervision, obviously, but doing it the right way, right? It's not like in Montana where we grew up and you threw it together and you hope it lasted. What we saw and we inspected, we went out to Cedartown, was the construction was done there was done the right way, under the guidance to be able to make sure that they could progress at what they were doing, but in a competitive environment. And so hats off to you. As you mentioned already, Turner, Brassfield, Gorey. I know Chris Britton couldn't swing a hammer, but if Chris is my neighbor, but we appreciate what you're doing. We have a void, obviously, in a lot of verticals that Senator Beach and others have pointed out, but in this construction industry, just try and get a plumber. Try and get an electrician. Try and get something done. Last night at dinner, they were talking about in South Georgia, someone just needed a plumber to come by, and it was $300. It was 15 minutes, and it was a week before they get someone out. That's a travesty in a state that's the number one place to do business. And so again, Senator Strickland, thank you for bringing this forward. I'm confident we'll be able to get it done. To the gentleman from the House, I know you may be smarter over there, but certainly we're the workers and we're the ones bringing this forward. So.
This question's for Mark Woodall. Mark, I was looking through the AGC magazine here, or the handout. Would you explain to Representative Irwin there why you have pictures of 2 senators and only 1 representative in your magazine?
Oh, I don't believe I can, sir.
All right, with that, we're going to keep moving along because we have this room for an hour. Next we have up, Roy, would you like to step up to the podium, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Roy Bowen with the Georgia Association of Manufacturers, and in the interest of time, I won't repeat a lot of the points that were made early on about this bill, but do want to thank Senator Strickland and for the comments from Senator Brass and Senator Beach and you, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Jones about the importance of this legislation. We fully endorse it, and we endorse all the comments that have been made up to this point. You know, as you have mentioned, Georgia is the #1 state for business. There's nothing that will undercut our ability to maintain that status than a lack of an adequate labor pool. And we believe that this legislation goes a long way to addressing that critical need. We're really pleased with the way manufacturing has rebounded in Georgia since the Great Recession. Georgia really, in terms of per capita growth, has led the nation in manufacturing growth, and we're very pleased. But there's not one manufacturing company today that's not in dire need of skilled labor. This helps to address that. We would like to offer just a couple of, which I hope you'll, and the sponsor will hope to find friendly amendments to the bill. The first would be on page 3 at line 48. The bill is restricted, its application is restricted to small and medium-sized apprentice sponsors. We really believe there's no definition of small and medium sized. We really believe that this bill is critical enough that it really ought to apply to all employers in the state. So we'd ask that you consider that as a friendly amendment. Then on line 56, the word successfully complete and graduate from. I think successfully complete, because we've used that term elsewhere in the bill. We probably don't need the word and graduate. It just appears to be maybe redundant. And then the final suggestion is at line 73, and it's really just a matter of adding a sentence at line 73 following the provision that's there, that the board shall ensure that the technical college system of Georgia credentials developed or utilized in these apprenticeship programs for such high-demand jobs in the High-Demand Career Initiatives program shall also be listed in the HOPE Career Grant eligible program list. And that really reinforces the eligible list as a single statewide focal point. And we believe that that just provides some additional clarity to the bill. But those would be the only amendments we have. It's a terrific bill. Georgia would join states such as South Carolina and North Carolina that have robust apprenticeship programs in place. And this is a program we could all as a state be very, very proud of. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, first, Roy, I'd just like to say thank you for not only your continued commitment to our state, but what you've done. Certainly you're a fixture here in this state, and this bill, having people like yourself stand behind it, is very important. Any comments for Roy from the committee or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right. Senator Strickland, do you want to step back up and just make a comment? Certainly you don't have to say whether you're 100% favor, but I know we've talked about these amendments just kind of for the committee, and then, of course, we'll come back with a substitute at appropriate time.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we will look at the proposed amendments. We've been talking about that for the last week as well, some of these ideas of making the bill better. A lot of the bill is guidance anyway as far as how the program will be implemented and run with the agencies that we put together here. And so I think the amendments make sense, and so I'll get with them and try to get a substitute together for you to bring back next time. I'll say this, when's the last time we had a bill that was so great that when you're the first time in committee in the Senate, a House member's here already advocating for it, so it should be a good sign.
That's a great point. Any other comments about this so far? What I will say this is, it's interesting that we have TCSG, we have a lot of the business community here, and certainly I can commit in the future, whoever that is, but the Department of Labor in the future will be engaged as well. This is a global issue for our state. And workforce, regardless if people tell us they're really uneducated in what's going on, just go to a restaurant, right? Go on a job site. Everywhere you go, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, our workforce right now is what's driving either the opportunity for us to continue, Roy, to be #1 in the business, or whether we lose that status. And so, again, I'll commend you for bringing this forward. The commitment for us is we'll work with you, and we'll be able to get this thing passed, get it over the House. If the House member's still here, looks like he's already left. Maybe he can take the message to make sure they're prepared to get it passed over there for you, Senator Strickland.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Any parting comments for the committee? All right, with that, we're adjourned.